Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar, other distinguished guests and friends. I'm very honored that I'm chairing not only the reception committee of this conference, but also this particular session. But you will understand that I'm no expert on internal political situation in India. As a diplomat, our job is to project India in its best form. So often we say that diplomats lie abroad for their country. So I'm here basically to express my support and solidarity with this idea. But I'm a bit concerned that after 75 years of independence, we need to argue for a bridge. Because this is not something that we are imagining today. I remember as a child, two instances, two things in my life made me aware of the fact that I am an Indian. The first is that my grandfather always said that when he is 60, he will go to Kashi to die. So I used to ask him, why do you have to die in Kashi? Where is it? He himself did not have much idea. He said, the day I'll abandon this world and go to Kashi and die there. This made a tremendous impact on me. That how is Kashi so important to a man in a Kerala village? What does he know about it? The second one was even more touching. Mahatma Gandhi's ashes passed through our village soon after his tragic assassination. And it was some kind of a sight for us, so we are all going there. We all went there to watch. And my grandmother, who was with us, was weeping so sadly, and it was also she had lost her father or mother. Again, I thought, what is this lady to do with Mahatma Gandhi? What has he done and what does she know? So these two things have remained in my mind whenever we talk of unity of India. So this unity is not something that the British have created. There is that wrong impression that it is the British who united India. It was the Bharatvarsha thought, centuries old, and it is not something which has been created by any politics or any kind of philosophy. Kalidasa's Mayur Sandesham, for example, has explained to us the extent of the Bharatvarsha, how it starts from the Himalayas and comes down to Kerala. So there was no reason for us to worry now about the unity of India. So it is unfortunate that we are doing that now because of the circumstances. And here we should also remember that a state like Kerala or Travancore Cochin was more dedicated, more committed to the idea of India than many of the other princely states. We know the story of C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer arguing with the Maharaja of Travancore that Travancore or Kerala could be an independent state. His argument was that we had enough wealth in this state to support an independent country because we have all these resources. And the whole world had come to India to spend their gold and silver to buy our pepper and cardamom. Maharaja was tempted, so he heard this story. Then C.P. Ramaswamy went on, do you know, sir, we have the greatest, biggest deposit of thorium in our state. Maybe we'll be able to rule the world by exporting thorium or developing him into military nuclear weapons for the world. But you know how the Keralites treated C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer. His nose is still lying outside the music academy. And that was the kind of spirit we had. And who united India in the sense of administrative unification? We all know that it was a Malayali who supported Sardar Patel's efforts in this. One other point we have to remember is that Kerala was one of the regions which believed in the development of Hindi. Even at a time when Hindi teaching was not very fashionable, young people began learning Hindi. I remember going to the local postman, the only one who knew Hindi, to learn Hindi when I was in school. And that never we thought that Hindi is a foreign language or something that will be imposed on us. And left to ourselves, we would have voted for Hindi to be the official and national language. It is because of Tamil Nadu that we were saved from Hindi domination here. So my point is that there is no reason for the northern states to think that they should somehow cut Kerala, and for us to think that we have to bridge it. So it is a phenomenon that we have to see very clearly and understand the reasons for it. If religion is the reason, religion is one of the most unifying factors that we can see in India. The points that I made about people going to Kashi, or what Dr. Madhu told us about Sri Rama going to Sri Lanka via Kerala. So if religion is considered to be the reason for today's problems, that should be very wrong, because North Indians cannot be closer to Hinduism than we are, or Sanatana Dharma, whatever name you call it. So in all sense of the term, this is an artificial creation. And of course, Sri Chandrasekhar said that these are all internal, and maybe Pakistan and China, etc., may not have any role to play. It may be true, but please remember that it was the British who divided India into India and Pakistan. If Lord Mountbatten had behaved differently, and if he had encouraged the political leaders to remain united, and did not encourage the idea of a division, India would have remained united. And if India and Pakistan were together, maybe we would have the best cricket team in the world. At least that would have been a great blessing for us to be together. So I think foreign forces have played a role in the plan to divide India. And there were predictions that after India became independent, it will be cut into hundreds of pieces. That was the prediction that was made by Winston Churchill. He said there would be no India once we leave it. So it is not the British. It is not the problem that is internally created. And even if you look at today, you know the kind of propaganda by the West just before our elections. The West played a very important role in the divisiveness of India by declaring that Indian democracy is not democratic enough, or India is becoming a fascist state. And we have a tendency, the learned people, the educated people have a tendency to read the New York Times and the Washington Post. And if you're reading those, we would have felt that this election will be a farce. The electoral machines should be used, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will win the election through unfair means. And this had an impact on the Indian electorate. And it's only after the results came that everybody was relieved that such things did not happen. Not only it did not happen, that the people were not raising these questions again. So there is a certain element of a conspiracy against India's unity, and that we must recognize. And as a result of that, the idea that in South and North are different and there should be a need for us to be divided came up. And that was a political move. And we Keralites walked into that trap because we began thinking that Narendra Modi is a North Indian phenomenon and whatever he does is for the North. And we should fight for our own rights and our own rulers and leaders. And therefore, we contributed to this. It is probably not the North which really conspired to divide India again, but we ourselves, by not joining the mainstream Indian politics, which was transforming the world, we consciously, deliberately kept out of it for some kind of a fear about minorities, some kind of fear about the not judicious distribution of wealth, etc. So we did not join the mainstream politics of India. And 10 years of changes that has taken place in India, we watched it with consternation, but at the same time, we did not want to be part of it. So these are all the complicated situations. Look at our neighbors today. There is no state in our neighborhood which is stable. This morning we are hearing about a coup in Maldives. In Bangladesh, the terrorists have been released in the name of freedom for the people. What is happening in Nepal? Pakistan has gone totally bankrupt. So all these changes around us have an impact on us. It is not that we can completely distance ourselves from these issues. So this complexity is what has brought about this. And so the answer is very simple, is what we are trying to do in this conclave. To study the situation in India today and realize that there are many factors which affect this kind of a feeling of division or lack of unity in diversity. And that has to be adopted, that kind of a global outlook. An India outlook must be adopted by all political parties, regardless of religion or any kind of fear of minorities being disregarded. So I think the Kesari is doing this very useful, excellent duty of bringing out these issues in our discussions. And I hope that this will go a long way in our restructuring our approach to whole of India. Having confidence in people around India that we all are united and we should not attribute a political party to a political region. We should judge political parties on the basis of what they do good to the country, rather than the kind of propaganda which is being made by Western nations. So the urgency of realizing these dangers and dealing with India, and for that what we need is a very strong central government. Last 10 years, if our reputation as a country of strength has increased in the world today, that is because of the very strong government we had. Once we have coalition governments, people will try to exploit the situation. So we had this time of 10 years of a very strong government, and that had also helped us in the process. So this is the kind of complex situation we are facing, and we hope this conclave will find answers to some of these questions. And we'll go back to the days when my grandfather wanted to go to Kashi and my grandmother cried for Mahatma Gandhi. Thank you very much.
Powered by Jyotis. Realizing your dream home. Our ongoing luxury apartments projects are Crown near Karivattam, The Square near UST Global, White Manor near Attigal Ambalatra, and Evergreens Luxury Villas near Tirumala. Call 90482 55599. Jyotis Building Promoters Private Limited, Thiruvananthapuram.